The Last Lemming is my new novel, out in summer 2020. It's the story of Professor Leo Sanders, TV naturalist and national treasure, who makes it all the way to his deathbed, then admits the wildlife discovery that made him famous was a hoax. This extract takes place in 1987, long before Leo was famous. At this point, he's the manager of his local garden centre with an obsessive hobby. He spends every spare weekend on the trail of mythical animals like the Loch Ness Monster, Surrey Puma, and his current quarry, the fabled Beast of Exmoor. Leo blamed Esther Ranson for the run on japonicas. He hadn't seen the like of it in 20 years of market gardening. The clamour for Mountbatten roses, featured in Princess Di's wedding bouquet, ran it a poor second. Every Sunday night for weeks, the set of the That's Life show had been swamped in torrents of said gaudy shrub. They were the prompt for a long-running gag, whereby the programme's resident so-called poet attempted to outdo himself with ever-fruitier doggerel ending in a rhyme for japonica. Needless to say, Esther and her retinue of Nancy boys in ties all fell about at the antics of his great-aunt Veronica, a pig on harmonica, and eating bratwurst with Erich Honecker. 11 million viewers appeared as enchanted by the shrubs themselves, many of them turning up at Sunny Styles Garden Supplies in Epsom, demanding Camellia japonica or its nearest taxonomic relation. "I've had enough of this," Leo told Mrs. Sykes, his branch under-manager. "If I see 2 more pensioners reenacting El Alamein over a 90p seedling, I'll not be responsible for my actions." The fact head office was sending down an accountant the following Monday was his second undisclosed motive for taking 3 days annual leave. Mrs. Sykes, as she never failed to tell him when a pallet of something exotic turned up in the delivery, had a degree in geography. Leo looked forward to hearing how far that got her with Bolshy Bailey from accounts. This particular week, his wife had signed up for a tennis tournament. Pamela said she would forego it when Leo mooted the idea of another trip to Exmoor, but her sigh, as she offered to phone her doubles partner and break the news, left him in no doubt she spoke from loyalty alone. He wasn't about to push it. Pamela had not been her best of late, for reasons he could guess but was minded not to probe. Besides, their regular fortnight at Loch Ness was only 6 weeks away. It would be no great hardship for him to go it alone. In the 3rd week of July, with high season in full swing, he expected to grub around for accommodation on Exmoor. But by a stroke of luck, the Bells had a cancellation, a single room to boot. Fate was well and truly smiling. Leo was up the lark on Saturday morning, with time to deadhead the petunias and give the aphids on his climbing Lady Hillingdon what for. By 11:15 he was hammering down the M5, one perky elbow up on the Montego's open window. The journey passed without a hitch, and he was checked in at the pub and unpacked just in time for lunch. Even his favourite table was free, beneath the glassy stare of the landlord's cherished 12-point stag. Moth-ridden and forlorn, it was a beast without mystery, yet for Leo it symbolised his perfect escape from the world. Tucking into gammon chips and garden peas, he allowed himself a smile of satisfaction. The forecast for the next few days was good. Following a report in his subscription copy of last week's Essex Herald, he planned to set up cameras on a new part of the moor. A sizable paw print had been found by a hiker at Radcombe. Leo's new theory was that the beast made its lair in derelict mine workings east of Heasley Mill. He would begin by focusing on the pit's known exits, then conduct a fingertip search for more. As he left the pub, the landlord was putting on grandstand, for the rest of the clientele settling in until he called time at 3 o'clock. The sunshine bathed Leo in a golden warmth. With his theatre of operations only 2 miles hence, he struck out on foot, detouring to the car park for his sunglasses. He ditched his khaki jacket on the back seat while he was at it, tutting at his Englishness. Weather-wise, he always packed for the worst. Walking down the lane, past the War Memorial and out of the village, Leo's mind turned to the 3rd reason for his unscheduled foray to the moor. Pete Glossop, arguably the Crypto Club's least observant field observer, scored an unlikely coup on a recent recce to the Lake District. Rumours surrounding the Windermere worm had resurfaced of late, along, allegedly, with the creature itself. Only an insufferable chancer like Glossop could have been out on the lake, camera pointed in the right direction, when the famous worm put in an appearance. Leo, yet to see the pictures, was sceptical. 4 shots apparently showed a grey, stalk-like head protruding from the water at a distance of 80 yards. The setting sun had thrown the object into deep contrast, and Pete was yet to explain why no one else aboard the crowded pleasure cruiser had spotted it. A mile further on, Leo consulted his map. He left the lane and made a beeline across the undulating moor. The grass here had thickened in the last 3 months to the evident nourishment of the resident sheep, whose droppings lay in abundance like spilled prunes. The moor's copper mines had lain abandoned since the 19th century, but miles of subterranean tunnelling still crisscrossed the earth beneath his feet. Was it too much to believe that one or more shy carnivores habitually retreated to this underground world, emerging only at night? Thank you.